Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Kabuki Quantum Fighter for the Nintendo Entertainment System. In this 1990 action platformer from HAL and Human Creative Group, the threat is decidedly, not human, but it is creative. It's an evil computer virus, threatening to override the main defense system of the US and reduce the planet to cinders. So it's up to Colonel Scott O'Connor to digitize himself in a mind data transfer system and fight the virus head-on. But for some reason, his digital avatar takes the form of his great-great-grandfather, a renowned performer from traditional Japanese Kabuki theater, known for its elaborate wigs, face paint, and costuming. That may not make any sense, but it's still way cooler than my own great-great-grandfather avatar, which would probably be like a grumpy Irish potato farmer. Now, Kabuki Quantum Fighter is very straightforward as far as action platformers go. You run and jump through various manual scrolling levels, attacking enemies and bosses. But there are two elements that stand out here. One is how you attack those enemies and bosses. Remember how I said Kabuki performers are known for their elaborate wigs? Well, the game designers took that and said, why punch and kick the bad guys when you can whip them to pieces with your big red flowing mane like a heavy metal guitarist? I mean, if your digital avatar is a reincarnation of your great-great-grandfather, might as well make the most of what you're working with. Even though by that logic, my avatar would probably be tossing potatoes and grumbling about Protestants. Anyway, the second unique element here is the game's grappling mechanics. They definitely take some getting used to, but your acrobatic digital Kabuki can flip more than his hair as he launches between these hanging grips in every stage. And hopefully not fall off into lava intestines or evil lizard men, which, along with other enemies, you can attack with more than just your hair. See, Colonel Kabuki O'Connor gains a new sub-weapon after each stage, and you can cycle through and activate them all with the select button. There are short and long-range fireball blasts, a triple shot to nail enemies from above and below at 45-degree angles, dynamite that absolutely decimates anything in range, and delights my inner pyromaniac more than I'd care to admit, and a double homing attack that locks onto the nearest enemy like a swarm of angry bees. But as great as these sub-weapons are, you have to be pretty frugal with them, because their use is limited by how much blue chip energy you have on hand. Granted, you can restore your supply with gem item pickups, but that chip energy sure goes fast when you're lobbing explosives everywhere. Maybe lobbing potatoes at the bad guys isn't such a bad idea after all. I mean, there's certainly no shortage of bad guys here. Level 1 is a biomechanical fortress with robo-attack dogs that are best left alone, stone faces that split open at the forehead to burn you with fireballs, which is probably a fairly apt depiction of migraines, and creepy beating heart ceiling panels. It culminates in a boss fight against a purple dude who sets off firebombs and flips all around the screen like an acrobat. Level 2 is a sewer, where water currents push you around, various pointy things try to impale you from every conceivable direction, and another highly acrobatic boss splits into shadow clones and does back handsprings while his orb of doom shoots lasers at you. There's a lot going on here. Level 3 is a factory that seems to exclusively manufacture spike balls of death, and it basically amounts to a lethal test of your grappling skills as you swing between wall grips and ice blocks. And the boss is some kind of vegetable octopus that inexplicably turns red, retracts its tentacles, and zooms back and forth across the playfield. Level 4 is another biomechanical fortress, but now featuring a host of new projectile shooting enemies. And also floors made of wiggly intestines, cause why not? Here, the boss is a super annoying robo-crab who first attacks you with laser drones that are best shot down as soon as possible, then climbs onto the ceiling out of reach until you successfully dodge one of its charge beams, and finally pinballs around the room until you have a chance to attack again. Level 5 is an extra long climbing course that challenges your timing and grip strength and, well, your patience, as you risk falling down several screens only to climb back up again. Until you face off against the boss, which is a huge blue mech that can only be damaged by hitting its exposed brain capsule while dodging wave beams. And level 6 doesn't even mess around with the preliminary stage, taking you straight to the two-part final boss, which is a big spiky helmet wired up to the environment by weird flesh cords. First, you've got to defeat its serpentine fire-breathing jaw protrusion, then you've got to finish off the mechanical laser launcher that takes its place. Pretty cool. Pretty gross too, but pretty cool nonetheless. Which just reinforces the fact that the visuals in Kabuki Quantum Fighter are awesome, at least if you're a fan of cyberpunk and biohorror aesthetics. And the game really manages to unify itself in those graphic themes without feeling too samey or monotonous. Even the Japanese Kabuki seems to fit into the aesthetic somehow. I just don't know if the same could be said about an Irish potato farmer. And as good as the visuals are, the soundscape really rivals them in quality, while still adding to the cohesive nature of the whole package. If Quantum was a quality of music, these chiptunes would have it. And of course, nothing beats the crunchy, noisy dynamite explosion sound effects. Now, Kabuki Quantum Fighter isn't an excessively difficult game, but there are two things that definitely ramp up the challenge. First is the limited continues, which, to be honest, I cheated my way around using save state checkpoints. And second is the health and chip energy carryover. These meters don't just reset back to full after completing each stage, instead they just restore a small portion. Which means if you take a lot of damage in one level, you're going to start off the next one pretty weak. A problem that tends to compound itself the further you get. So even though I did cheat with save states, I still had to play pretty well to maintain my health, especially since I made a point to clear the whole game on a single life. So if I could change one thing in this game, I'd just reset your life bar and chip energy for each level. It would make life a lot easier, figuratively and literally. Overall, Kabuki Quantum Fighter is a fun action platformer that may be relatively standard in its gameplay, but definitely rises above on style alone. At least as long as it features a cool, hair-whipping digital Kabuki and not a grumpy, potato-tossing digital farmer.